Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and my next Escape from Tarkov video. BSG just had a podcast. We're going to do a little bit of a patch note review and podcast recap for you. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. So here we are. I will put the link in the description so you can click on them and see yourself. But here is the podcast, the patch notes from the podcast. And we'll talk about the podcast after. There's actually in some ways more information about the podcast than the 12.10 patch notes. So first things, they added new voices for scav bosses, Rashala, Sanitar, Gluhar, as well as regular scavs reacting to voice lines. Nikita talked about it a little bit, not a bunch of detail. Sounds like it's going to be something that's just going to be fun to mess around with. New clothing, that's cool for those that like it. I'm indifferent. It's not great, it's not bad. It's more shit to put on. For new equipment, so they've added some chest rigs, tactical slings, a hunting vest, the slick plate carrier, multiple colors, so now instead of just black, you'll have olive and tan, which is pretty cool. This Eberl stock backpack, this thing's huge. That's kind of cool looking. We'll see how that plays into the game. And then ballistic glasses, and the new headsets, the M32s. So we'll see how these sound, and if they're going to be available from traders or not. And then the GP7 gas mask. This looks like it's a gas mask that you can actually wear headsets with versus the old one. So that's interesting. And then an army cap with several variations in colors. New items, emergency water ration. So they added another water, hemostatic tourniquet CAT. So this is a fast-acting tourniquet, as Nikita described it. The AFAC Personal Tactical First Aid Kit. This is a more advanced IFAC, is exactly how Nikita described it. So this thing is basically it's an IFAC. It's black. It's got 400 hit points instead of 300 of the IFAC. Right now, as of when they showed it, it takes 170 of those to stop a heavy bleed and 30 to stop a light bleed, which those stats are just better than what you get out of the regular IFAC. New ammos, 7.62 by 39 AP round. It'd be interesting to see what the stats on this are, as well as a 5.56 by 45 AP round. I don't know how this is going to be different than 9.95, if it's going to be somewhere in between 8.55A1 and 9.95, or what it's going to be, or if it's going to be a pure class 6 killer. We'll see. The MK318 Mod 0. This is a very interesting round. Props to the Marine Corps. It's a round designed for the USMC. It's meant as it's a duty use round designed for barrier defeating. So glass, things like that, where your traditional ball round would have a hard time, it would bounce off, it would ricochet, which it might sound weird, but if you're shooting at a windshield, a lot of times the round doesn't punch through clean. Now that's where this round was designed in real world concept. How that's going to come across in the game, we'll see. But again, another round for the game. STM9 pistol, caliber carbine. This is kind of like an MPX. It's a Russian-made AR pistol, if you will, for competition shooting and things like that. I think it's just going to be another fancy MPX with AR parts that can attach to it. You have the PL-15 pistol, which they talked about, which is another handgun. New gun parts. They didn't get into specifics, but basically he said AR-15 parts a whole bunch. So I think they're going to add some more AR-15 parts. We'll see. The USVR Tiger 1 special melee tool. This is kind of like a spoon machete kind of thing. Kind of cool looking. They had some new barter items. The TP200 TNT brick, which that makes me think of explosives. A ratchet wrench, and a can of thermite. Now, they did do a leak earlier where they were going to have Willie Pete's in the game, which that's kind of scary and good and weird, especially because those are awful. But anyways, the TNT brick is C4 basically, I think. So that'll be interesting what those barter items are going to be used for down the road. There's a new filter for the stash items found in Raid. So you can filter things that are found in Raid and nothing else, maybe? I don't know. That seems kind of cool to me. Maybe they said they're going to work on the filter stuff. This will be handy if that's the case. Sorting of quests by current location. That's going to be insanely handy because you're going to be able to sort locations based on the actual like woods or customs. Now, some of these don't work. Hopefully they fix the tasks that these don't work, because there's some that say woods that aren't woods, or some that say anywhere. They're actually specific locations. So hopefully if they fix those when they do that. The item has been moved to notifications. So that means they won't be coming from Ragman anymore. When you double tap the voice line key, aggressive phrases will be played as in combat. When placing a new offer, the item selection window will appear to the left. So instead of like when you always open an offer, it pops in the middle and you drag it. Like it's like autopilot for me now. I don't even think about it, but that's going to be nice that it's going to put it over there. Just a quality of life change. Experience category icons on the post-raid screen. So I'm guessing this is going to be a way so you can sort through the experience instead of having to read it. It'll show you specifically which kind of experiences are going to where. Kind of handy change. The Steam Audio option is back after fixes. I'm excited for this. I actually enjoyed Steam Audio before it went kaput. It was hard for me to go back to not having Steam Audio. Now that we're used to it, it'll probably be hard to go back to Steam Audio. Well, I'm just going to play through it. Thermal imaging rendering system changes. The loot is no longer highlighted. This is super good. I use thermals all the time to find loot. That shouldn't be the case. It should just be bodies that show up. The new system will allow further dynamic temperature changes, heating and cooling. That's cool. And optimizations for improved performance when using a thermal imager or thermal imaging sites. I don't know if this is PC performance or what it is. I'm kind of thinking that's what it is. Fences offers are no longer displayed on the flea market. This is interesting to me because now you're actually going to have to go through Fence to find stuff instead of just being able to quick search on the flea market. So like if somebody has an OFZ shell that they sell to Fence, it won't show up there anymore. You'll have to actually be on Fence's screen. So this is an interesting change to the game. Rain sound is now 30% quieter. I don't like this change, and I know I'm one of the few guys that are out there, but I really enjoy the rain, especially playing solo. It gives you a chance to get into the middle of squads and kill people, and they have no idea where you're at and move around. You don't have to creep and rat to move and not be heard. So I'm not going to complain that they changed it. I know this is something the community's wanted, but it looks like it's 30% quieter, so we'll see what that sounds like. Reduced strength and endurance bonuses. I know a lot of the guys have been complaining about these being OP, so I would tend to agree. Strength and endurance are two skills that if you, as a solo player fighting squads, I depend on the most. The ability to move around quickly in far distances and get really crazy flanks or run away from fights and people just can't catch you. So I'm okay with them reducing these bonuses. Adjusted player spawns on customs. Yes. We'll see if it actually fixed it. They said the same thing about reserve and they kind of fixed them, but they really didn't. They're still super easy abusable, so we'll see what happens. We'll leave that to be judged after we get through customs. Increased hideout management leveling speed if solar batteries block is built. Really good change here. So I held off this wipe on building my solar farm specifically because I knew it slowed down how fast you leveled hideout management because it's based on how fast you burn through fuel. So when you get a solar power, you burn through fuel slower, so you don't level as fast. So I don't know how they did this, but this is cool. This is a good thing. You shouldn't be getting punished for upgrading stuff. So I like that. Simplified the attention skill progression and simplified mag drill skill progression. Not sure what this means. We'll have to wait and see what they mean by simplified. The wiki will be a great source for what they're doing there once we get it figured out. Missing items from the scav after the end of raid if at the point there was a game update or the back end was unavailable for other reasons. High volume breathing of some bears and USEC voices. So this is good. This is a good fix. I might actually play a bear for a change. One of the bugs with grenade explosions with sound and explosion effects. So I'm hoping that they say one of the bugs, which tells me that there's more than one bug, which means this isn't going to completely fix it, but make it better. So progress. The lighting issue when spawning on interchange. I'm wondering which one this is, if it has specifically to do with the lights themselves or how you can see in the garage because lighting comes through. We'll see. Empty quick healing screen. Error 228 if filter and while crafting purified water. If filter and while crafting purified water. So I haven't got this error in a long time, but basically it kicks you out of the hideout if you add a filter to your water purifier. Resetting the progress of mag drill skill after leaving raid. This note's been in here a couple of times now, so hopefully it's actually fixed. Inability to load into game if you take in-raid lot of maps with tags. Not sure what that's all about. Didn't have that problem. Reset the selected character customization lower end to the standard. Car extracts sometimes fail to trigger at the end of the exfil timer. That's a good fix. There is bugs with money and giving money to people that bug it out, so that is a problem with it as well. Difference in the time flow of the hideout generator. Maybe there was a difference in how it was showing and what it was actually doing, so they fixed that. Playing the sound of distant gunshot while the shooter is in close proximity to the player. So this is interesting. I'm not sure what this has to do with. I think if somebody's close to you and you shoot and you hear a far sound, that's awful scary. Maybe that would explain some of the deaths, but nonetheless, bots not spawning in the factory offline in horde mode. I've seen some people saying they were having issues with that. Various places on locations where it rained indoors. I'm guessing like interchange in the parking garage, it would be raining inside. So that's cool. Ability to save the preset if there are critical parts missing on it. That's good because that means you can save the preset and you can build your guns without like pistol grips. So you can store them easier. I like that idea. The player received an outdated invitation to the group after restarting the client. Little housekeeping bug fix. It looks like missing shadow on factory after the reconnect. I've never seen that, but good thing they fixed it. Currency conversion arrow in the client. When exchanging currencies on the client, the resulting amount was shown slightly less than necessary. Well, that's good. They're fixing that. Availability of container sorting on screens where it should not be. Okay. Examining an item on the scav's item transfer screen did not work if the item is on the scav. So this is just making it to where you can actually examine stuff when you're like in that post-raid screen and you're moving your stuff from your inventory or into your inventory. Sounds of falling casings and ricochets of bullets were audible for players in the bunker from outside the area of reserve location. 100%. The bunker sounds were so screwed up. So it's good that they're fixing this. Inability to ensure a cultist knife. So you can ensure a cultist knife now. So that's interesting. Lack of localization of firing mode in raids. So this must have been a bug with dealing with semi and full auto and burst selection. Various minor adjustments to locations, various minor bugs, various minus network errors, other errors, spamming errors, critical errors that cause crashes, disconnects, error 228, etc. So all good stuff there. AI changes. Bots on the move now shoot even less accurately than bots that are stationary. That's so good. I have definitely had my experience of bots doing the dirty strafe with a shotgun and head-eyesing you at 60 yards. And it's like, oh my God, I wish I was that accurate. But they fixed it, it looks like. Changed the parameter of effects of bushes on visibility of bots. Bots now see worse. This is something that's needed to be fixed for a while because those bots, the AIs will go prone in the bushes and you might as well just run away or you're just going to die because they can see you and you can't see them. Slow down the reaction of normal bots when detecting the player. I'm guessing this is just so regular scavs don't react quite as fast when they see you. Change parameters of player tracking at the last point. Bots follow the point less, which means that like if they see you and that's where they last saw you, they're going to be less likely to track that location. So we'll see what effects that has. If you know that long-standing rule that you don't repeat the same location, especially against like raiders or boss scavs. We'll see if that changes that at all. Maximum any detection radius of bots has been reduced. That's good. Bots can see you from way too far away, in my opinion. Bots now do not fire while changing position to prone. Good. This means they can't shoot at you while they're in mid-dive like some kind of John Wick movie. Fix boss spawns when they could appear without guards. I haven't run into this yet, but good. They're fixing that. Fixed behavior when the boss did not attack an enemy in offline mode. Okay, I don't play much offline mode, so don't know about that. Fix sniper bots spawn. This means that you'll have snipers back on customs. Shoreline. I think Woods is still there, but this is good. Bot snipers will be back. Yay for all those people stuck on that task. Various server bugs related to bots. So various bugs that they just didn't want to list. Little stuff, I'm sure. Optimization. So they changed the shader system. And this is supposedly going to help with how well the game performs and runs. So that's always good. And improved and corrected option in the MIP streaming setting. So there's going to be a setting in here where Nikia was talking about it, that it's going to be able to make the game run better. I don't know a whole lot about this stuff, so I'm not going to dive into it. The option is disabled by default. You can enable it at any texture quality now, not just for high settings. So when you get it, I would suggest playing around with it and see what effect it has on your specific system and making your games more streamlined, run better, higher frames, all that kind of jazz. So that is going to be something for all of you to do on your own. And that's pretty much it for the patch notes. So real quick, I guess not real quick, we're already quite a bit into this. I want to talk about what they talked about in the podcast notes. So on to the podcast. I just paused this frame here. This is where they were showing a lot of the screenshots for Streets, which is pretty cool. Lots of stuff in there. This looks like it's going to be an insane map. But some of the bigger things they talked about after 12.10. Some of this is after 1210, but before 1211. Some of it's after 1211. Some of it's 13. Some of it's down the road. These were just the big points that he talked about that I caught my attention. So streamer mode is going to be added to 1211. I know most of you don't care about this. I personally don't care, but I'm not a big streamer, so it doesn't affect me that much. So great. I know there's a lot of guys that want this, so it's good that they're getting it. This spring, they're going to be another Twitch Rivals tournament. It's going to be bingo again, but they said they're going to do some surprises in there and change it up, which is good. The Punisher 3 tournament's coming up here, and that will have drops. That's here in about 2 weeks, April 8th, I think. So that's going to have drops on it as well. The factory expansion is planned for 12/11. And he said they're going to show us something probably in the next week or two in relation to that. And then after that's going to be Lighthouse. So this sounds to me like it's going to be a mid-patch kind of ad, like the customs expansion was, where it's going to be between 12/11 and 13. It's kind of how he alluded to it. The Scar L. There has been a lot of questions with the SCAR that they're adding about whether it's going to be the 5.56, the 308, both, what they're going to do. And it looks like both. The other thing that was really interesting here was that there was many parts when you looked how they took it apart. And this plays into what they've talked about in the future with guns having all of the parts interchangeable, triggers, bolts, all of that stuff that they want in the game. And that's how they build each of the models currently. So when they get to that point, hopefully it'll be a quick introduction and be able to have that. But you can see that in the screenshot that they shared with the SCARs. He talked about Scav Karma. And it's going to start with 12/11, not 12/10. They wanted 12/10, but they pushed it to 12/11. And basically how it's going to play in is the higher rep you get more option and bonuses with fence. Things like faster timers, your scav spawn with better or worse gear, things like that. And the way you level it up is by like protecting bosses and fellow scavs against player aggression. So that's player scav and PMCs. If you protect them against those aggressions, then you get that bonus, as well as using that the PMC and scav extracts that are on a couple of different maps where like reserve is the scav lands extract where you need a PMC and a scav and you both extract. I've never ever done it. I'm guessing it's super hard to do, but we'll see. Somebody asked about if they're going to answer barter changes in advance, if they're going to announce barter changes in advance, and he said no, never. Pretty flatly, and that's a good thing. I think that's how they want to run the economy, so that's how it's going to go. He also mentioned about how a third of the company is working at the office now, but the rest are still at home. That's kind of the system they've gotten into, and they've got it working well. So just keep that in mind, that they've got a different work environment than most everybody else does. The change to Unity 2019 is going to happen sometime between 12/11 and 12/10. They need to do a lot of ETS server testing for it, it sounds like still. Again, all the street screenshots, they look amazing. Voice and proximity chat is 100% going to be this year. So we'll see how that going. Somebody talked about landmark streamer items. He said basically send us your ideas so they can get it added at a later date. There is an English speaking bear in the game, but Nikita doesn't know if he wants to add it because he doesn't think it fits in with the lore. He's not sure if it fits in with the lore. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. They're going to start testing things like shoulder switching, which arm you're shooting from this year. So like, when you lean around a left corner versus a right corner, or I'm guessing even blind firing, is going to be able to do from either side. And then the sight and scope rework that they've been talking about for a little while now is not going to happen until 12/11. So I know some people are excited about that. There was a really crazy quick clip about a guy running with a sledgehammer. It reminded me of Siege almost. So we'll see what that's going to be. I don't know if that's a scav boss or what that is, but it's kind of cool looking. Again, they talked about more in-depth parts for guns, going that route with everything. Somebody asked him about how are they going to rework the Bitcoin farm? And he said somehow. He thought about it for quite a bit. He thought pretty hard. So I know he's thinking about it, but who knows what they're planning on doing, and they're probably not going to announce it, to be honest. It was funny because he also mentioned it when somebody asked if there were going to be drops on this stream. He said, there's already enough money in the game. Just go farm Bitcoins and you have plenty. So he's obviously aware that there's plenty of money in the game, which I find super interesting. It kind of plays into the idea that this isn't them being dumb. This isn't an accident. There's something they're doing here to test stuff. So he said the economy, he wants it to be as humanly influenced as possible and unpredictable. He gets into things, he talked about things like traders are going to have like bad days, bad moods. They're going to get sick. They're going to have days off. There's going to be global events that affect supply, more like the fuel one. There's going to be more imperfections in the traders and more humanize them. So instead of just being kind of robotic with these fixed prices and fixed inventories, they're going to fluctuate a lot just to make things more immersive, I'm guessing. So you're going to see price changes in prices and quantities. I'm super excited to see how they implement it. It's going to take some time to work through it, but I think it's going to be a good deal. And then they said the server issues that they've had, they made a bunch of changes. It's made some servers better. It's made some servers worse. And they're still changing everything. And there's going to be a bunch of big changes between 12.10 and 12.11. So we just kind of have to stick with it, I guess, and see where it goes. And then again, they talked about weapon jamming, low and high ready, IR flashlights. All of this is stuff they have planned for this year that they want to implement. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see where it goes and how it gets there. So that's kind of the notes. My take on this is, and again, nobody said anything about the wipe. Nobody mentioned it. They mentioned it, but nobody gave a date. So I'm saying it now. I think 12.11 is going to have a wipe, especially if they maintain the current patch rate with about 3 months. If not, it'll be with 13 for sure, but only if 13 is in like the next 4 months or so. I have no proof. I have no inside knowledge. Nobody's talked to me. I'm just going off of base of what I see in the community, what I see with the way they're talking about patches and the way the past has gone. I don't think they're going to wait till 13 because I'm thinking fall for 13, August, September, whereas we're maybe May or June for 12.11. And then with a lot of the stuff they're going to change at 12.11 with Scav Karma and stuff, it kind of makes sense to me that they would do a wipe, especially with factory expansion and all that other stuff. And they talked a lot about stuff that's going to be between 12.11 and 13 as well. And they didn't mention anything about 12.12. That means there's going to be some kind of intermediate kind of patch changes, I think. But for me, I believe that that's when wipe is going to happen is 12.11. So we'll have to wait and see. See if I'm wrong, see if I'm right. And you guys can all belittle me or call me a prophet in 3 or 4 months. Hopefully, we'll see. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Well, that wraps up the video. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button because it helps out the channel a bunch. And subscribe for future content. We also have a Discord, links down in the description, that you can come join. We're filling up with a bunch of chill people who just love to play Tarkov. If you're looking to support the channel in other ways, we've launched a Patreon with some benefits like access to a Discord channel, constantly updated spreadsheet for my hideout calculations, and some other things if you want to go check it out over there. Lastly, thanks for your support on YouTube. It means the world to me and I greatly appreciate every one of you. So with that, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you in Tarkov.